Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to absolutely shatter your pop culture perception of dinosaurs. We're talking about true, hard scientific facts that honestly sound like impossible myths. Over the years, blockbuster movies and, well, kind of inaccurate documentaries have molded our idea of these magnificent creatures into this highly misunderstood narrative. But today, we're correcting the record using only the most astonishing realities.
So, what if literally everything pop culture taught you about these guys was just a mixed bag of inaccuracies? Let's toss the movie monsters right out the window from the get-go. What if the very things that seem undeniably false about our favorite prehistoric creatures are actually true? We're going to explore the mind-blowing realities of these animals, facts that completely defy what we consider common sense.
All right, let's start with Dimension 1, the deep time illusion.
Prepare to have your modern concept of time completely unmoored. Seriously, look out your window at the grass and the flowers. Now realize this, for the vast majority of their existence, dinosaurs never saw a single blade of grass or a blooming flower. Why? Because they simply hadn't evolved yet. The first true dinosaurs date back to the Middle Triassic, roughly 234 million years ago. Flowers didn't pop up until around 140 million years ago, and grass, that didn't even appear until 100 million years ago. Literally every dinosaur in the Triassic and Jurassic periods would have been completely confused by a modern suburban lawn.
And to make that deep time even stranger, let's zoom out to the cosmos. Our Earth and solar system are always flying through space like a bullet, right? Because dinosaurs evolved so unimaginably long ago, they literally inhabited an entirely different galactic neighborhood within the Milky Way than we do today. Same Earth, entirely different side of the galaxy. It's wild to think about.
165 million. That is the staggering number of years dinosaurs actually reigned supreme as the planet's most dominant group. To put that level of unprecedented success into perspective, the reign of modern humans is less than 0.2% of that time. We are literally just a blink in the history of the Earth compared to this dynasty.
Let that sink in for a second. With a massive 76 million year gap between the two species, you are living closer in time to a Tyrannosaurus rex than that T-Rex did to the Stegosaurus. No way, right? By the time the T-Rex finally showed up on the scene 66 million years ago, dinosaurs like the Allosaurus and Stegosaurus weren't just dead, they were already ancient fossils buried deep in the ground.
And they were separated by physical space just as much as time. If you're remembering that epic movie battle between a T-Rex and a pack of velociraptors, I've got bad news for you. It absolutely never happened. While they technically coexisted in time, they lived on completely different continents. The T-Rex was strictly roaming North America, while the velociraptor was constrained entirely to the Asian continent.
Moving right along to Dimension 2, the biological anomalies.
Okay, now that we've totally broken your concept of time, let's challenge your biological assumptions. Dinosaurs came in every shape and size, expanding into almost every ecological niche imaginable all over the globe. So you might assume some dinosaurs ruled the deep oceans alongside plesiosaurs, right? But surprisingly, not a single one ever made the transition to being fully aquatic. Mammals, snakes, and turtles all made the return to the water, but the dinosaurs never did.
So why was that?
Well, they were actually kept out of the water by three very specific biological barriers. First up, their naturally buoyant bones acted as terrible water weights, making it incredibly hard to dive. Second, their egg designs were poorly made to resist the effects of being completely submerged in water. And third, fierce Mesozoic competition already completely occupied that oceanic real estate.
But perhaps their greatest biological anomaly is that they never actually died out. Against all popular misconceptions, over 11,000 species of avian dinosaurs, which we simply call birds, still rule the skies today. And let's be clear, they aren't just dinosaur-like or heavily related to them. They are dinosaurs in every sense of the word, just as much as an Allosaurus or an Argentinosaurus.
And this brings us to a wildly unintuitive fact. Because birds are theropods belonging to the Maniraptoroclade, which is a specific subgroup of small feathered dinosaurs, a modern chicken is actually more closely related to a Tyrannosaurus rex than a T-Rex is to a giant scaly carnivore like a Giganotosaurus. They might look similar in size and ferocity to us, but genetically speaking, you need to put some respect on the modern chicken.
And we're not just guessing here. We know this for sure through a mountain of independent evidence. It's not just convergent evolution. Birds and theropods share incredibly complex feather structures, internal traits like wishbones, and even hollow bones with air sacs.
Plus, for a nice cherry on top, back in 2007, researchers actually sequenced a tiny piece of collagen protein from a 68-million-year-old T-Rex. Out of all the animals tested, its amino acid sequence directly matched, you guessed it, chickens.
It's incredible how precise our biological understanding is now. Scientists can actually identify an entire dinosaur species just by analyzing microscopic autoapomorphic bone fragments, meaning a distinct anatomical feature that is unique only to that specific group. Just from incredibly well-preserved fragments, we can deduce wild specifics. We can figure out their skin color from preserved pigment cells called melanosomes, their skin texture from fossilized impressions, and even the size and shape of a T-Rex's brain by studying endocasts, which are molds of their inner skulls.
And finally, let's jump into Dimension 3, unfathomable scale.
Let's scale up to physical sizes that completely defy what seems biologically possible for a land-dwelling creature. You know that 90s myth, heavily popularized by Michael Critten's work, that the average dinosaur was about the size of a sheep or a dog? Yeah, forget that. According to a recent meta-analysis, the actual average dinosaur weighed a whopping 4,282 kilograms, or over 4 tons. That means the average dinosaur you'd encounter was roughly the size of a modern Asian elephant.
To put this absolute supremacy into perspective, think about this. If you listed the 10 largest land animals to ever walk the Earth, they'd all be dinosaurs. If you expanded that list to the top 20, they'd still all be dinosaurs. In fact, even at a list of 30, no terrestrial mammal, past or present, not even ancient giants like Paracetotherium, cracks the list. It is literally a dinosaur-only invite. And the absolute pinnacle of this unfathomable scale belonged to the titanosaurs. We're talking about megasauropods, reaching sizes that challenge the laws of physics. A 2023 study suggested that the megasauropod Brouhathkaiasaurus could reach a mind-bending weight of up to 170 metric tons. Just try to picture this. A single, lone, 170-ton dinosaur could weigh more than the entire planetary population of Siberian tigers combined. Think about that for a second. A solitary animal outweighing a whole global subspecies. Even just a single leg bone of a giant like the Argentinosaurus, stripped of all flesh and muscle, stood taller than any living elephant today. Which naturally leads us to a massive, literal elephant-in-the-room kind of question. How did land-dwelling creatures get so impossibly massive without just being crushed under their own weight? Modern whales cheat, right? They use the buoyancy of ocean water to support their massive bulk. So how on earth did these walking mountains get so unimaginably big strictly on land? Well, scientists have definitely ruled out the wild early theories, like the idea that Earth simply had lower gravity during the Mesozoic era. Actually, scratch that. Gravity was exactly the same. Instead, current theories point towards highly efficient bird-like breathing systems and unique hollow bone structures that massively reduce their density. Throw in some unique ecological factors, and you've got a recipe for giants. But the ultimate takeaway, the reality we just have to accept, is that scientists still aren't 100% sure. Their impossible size remains one of science's greatest unsolved mysteries, leaving us to wonder, as we keep digging, what other completely impossible truths about our planet's past are still waiting to be unearthed.